What's good, fam? It's Reverend T in the building with Tuesdays with Tawana. So glad to be here. So glad to be able to build community one episode at a time. Grateful for you, grateful for your presence, just grateful for this moment. And today is all about positive energy. This is all about positive energy today and how we are going to attract and get through some positive energy we are in the midst of, right? How dare I talk about positive energy in light of everything that is going on? Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Tony, what's going on? Good to see you, sister. So, just amazingly proud of you, and I love you so much. So, those of you who are just joining for the first time, just know that I will uh, you'll hear me reference people and read comments because we are on Facebook Live, and this vodcast is turned into a podcast later. So you'll hear me shout people out when they come into the comments. I'll insert their comments into this narrative because it's not just all about me having just talking. I want to be in dialogue and have conversation with community because that's how we build community. We do it in a way that is inclusive, and we invite all voices into this space. So, with that, I am going to put some things in the comment because, of course, my shirt is from Tizzy Tees, TIZZYTEES.com. So I'm going to add that in the comments. And for those of you who will be listening via podcast on later, just know that I'm going to try to remember that you don't see some stuff. So I will try to verbalize as much as I can while we are on this broadcast together. Hello, Mother Carolyn. Yes, I love you and miss you dearly. I am also going to put something else in the chat as well. My lip gloss is from Tony Michelle, who is the makeup artist, and she's on right now. Tanisha is here, and I am going to put her website in the comments so that you can support these beautiful businesses that continue to support me. So I love this shirt. Tizzy Tees sent this to me, and I absolutely love it. I am feeling all of the positive energy with it on today. Hey, Amber. I love and miss you so much. You know I'm thinking about the guitar, right? Mm-hmm. Yep, I'm thinking about it. I ain't gonna put it on blast on TWT, but yeah, yeah. Let's see who else is here. Oh, I love you too, sister. Mama Lovey. Oh, you have been on my mind. I need to just pick up the phone and call you, Mama Lovey. I just need to hear your voice. I miss you tremendously. Hey, Jules, good afternoon. And she says, good afternoon to everyone. Yes, yes, yes. Uh, I just love it when community comes together on this Tuesday, even if it is just for a moment. Uh, it's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. I love it. I love it. So let me talk about some positive vibes and some positive energy for a moment. So yesterday was supposed to be treatment for me, and I got my blood work done in the morning, went back, was all set up, ready to go for treatment. And my nurse was asking me all of the pre-medical questions like, have you had any cough or fever or any pain or whatever. So I've experienced some irritation like on my arms and on my torso, and then it seemed like something was brewing, like not really a rash but just something irritating me, like a mosquito bite. So with that, and with the fact that I go see the cardiologist on Friday, she calls my oncology nurse. She comes down and she's like, you know what, we're going to skip treatment because with all these different things going on, you're going to see your primary care tomorrow, you're going to see the cardiologist on Friday. Let's move your treatment to next Monday. Now, under different circumstances, that may have sent me just off the wall. Like I was there for about 2 hours. I would have been pissed under different circumstances. And I said, you know what? It is what it is, because of the people around me had this positive energy and they saw me and cared for me. So they decided to come together and have a conversation with me about doing what was best for my health. So although the actual thing that was happening was delaying my treatment, which of course, well, not of course, but sends my anxiety through the roof because I'm in treatment every 3 weeks for a reason. So when you postpone it for a week, then I'm thinking, what happens to my health? What happens to and in my well being? Hey, Angela, good to see you this afternoon. Mwah. I hope all is well. So, in the midst of all of that, it was so important that people around me had this positive energy so that I can take this decision and then look at my decision in some sort of positive light, that they're looking out for my well-being, they're looking out for my health. They see Tawana and they know that Tawana really doesn't complain. She really doesn't come in with any major problems. She's one of my easier patients, but today there's something that's not right. She got an appointment for a cardiologist. She is having some sort of allergic reaction. It could be to the TDM1 or the Kadcyla that I'm on, which is chemotherapy and a targeted therapy. So all this stuff going on, and it took some gentle people. My primary care today was absolutely amazing. We looked up some stuff online. We found out what the problem was, and on their medical site, not like Google or whatever. So imagine if my doctor pulled up a Google site, I probably would have walked out the door. But um yes, Ned ain't going anywhere. Positive vibes only. Protect my peace, protect my space. Positive energy only. That's it. With some cute lip gloss from Tony Michelle. Yes. So, makeup artist, MUA.com. Okay, so today my primary care was amazing. Just walked with me through this journey, didn't rush me. So my point is, in the midst of these trying times, it is so important that we protect our peace. Hey, brother. Good to see you online. I got to see my brother over my birthday weekend. I was so happy. Um, it is so important that we do our very best to protect our peace and to keep positive energy around us, because we got enough stuff going on in this world, right? We got stuff going on the outside, in this nation, in our communities, and we have our own stuff going on with our own individual selves, whether it's health and well-being, with family members, with friends, trying to help someone. It might not even be you going through something. It might be a close friend or a family member. It's just a lot going on. And it's so important that we do our very best to keep positive energy in our cipher, in our circle, in our universe, in our world, in our breathing space, in our energy, right? But you know what the trick to this is? In order for you to identify and attract positive energy, you've got to know that you know that you know what positive energy is. Because some people are so rooted in toxicity and mess and negative energy that they don't even know what positive energy looks like, feels like, smells like, sounds like. So it's so important that you know what positive energy is and to be able to name it and define it so that the law of attraction will work for you and you will attract that which you speak and manifest and then manifest. So I got to know me. I got to know my triggers. Like, yes, it probably would feel really good for me to curse out this shady person that really did some shisty stuff. It would feel really good just to curse them out and tell them off. And is it really worth it for me to compromise my personal peace, which is tied into my health, which is tied into my well-being, which is tied into how I treat other people, which is tied into community, which is tied into me? So it's just this circle that goes around this positive energy. So if I exude positive energy, then that same circle will then manifest positive energy and it'll just keep going and going. But if I don't know what positive energy is because of my life experiences, 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to be able to attract that positive energy. I am not going to be able to exude that positive energy. Positive energy to me might look like cussing somebody out. Positive energy, because now I feel really good and I think that's positive, right? My positive energy might be to smack the mess out of somebody because that makes me feel good. So that's how I define positive energy. But that is not for what we're talking about today. That is not how we become our best selves. That is not how we build an amazing community that transcends, that is antithetical to what is going on in the world and how the world is trying to define us. It is what we define as positive energy that does no harm. Does no harm to me, nor to the people around me that I love. And let me pause for a moment because there are some people who are just gonna be the way they gonna be, but that does not have to involve me. So I can either call you in or call you out and tell you about yourself, or I could walk away. Either way, it's protecting my peace and my energy. If I walk away and remove myself from that toxic situation, it's not degrading or demeaning or rude or unacceptable. Just like forgiveness, like, you know, we're now understanding this thing called forgiveness, which has more to do with me than the person that has transgressed against me. Because forgiveness is really about my peace and my heart and making sure that I don't walk away with ill feelings based on what someone has done to me and I'm holding on to that. That's how trauma continues to manifest in our lives. And then it becomes layers of trauma because if we don't know how to deal with those transgressions, they're going to keep happening until we learn how to deal with it, even if it means walking away, removing yourself from the situation. And although these words are rolling off my tongue quite easily, talk to a domestic violence victim about walking away. It's not that easy. Talk to a domestic violence victim about removing toxicity out of their life. And as a matter of fact, talk to a domestic violence victim who may not even realize that they're in a domestic violence situation like me when I was, and that they feel as if this is love. It's not even toxic. Right? It's not that easy. So even if I'm not, or we're not, or someone is not in a domestic violence situation, sometimes it's not that easy to protect our peace because there's so much going on around us, whether it's at work, at school, with our children, with family, with friends, with law enforcement, with the government, with the wars going on across the globe. Let us not just hone in on the Ukraine. We talked about this last week. There are things going on in Tigray. There are things going on in Somalia. There are things going on all over the place. There's a war going on right here. It may not look like the war in these other countries, but we got a war going on right here where white supremacists are still killing black and brown bodies and with no recourse. That sounds like a war to me. When you're trying to take over something and you're trying to dehumanize something, when you're trying to dismiss something and you want to own something and you don't want that thing or that person to have their own voice and to honor their own presence, that is a war. And how do we find that peace in the midst of all that is going on? How do we find it? So, Audre Lorde, and you know I love Audre Lorde, and one of my absolute favorite quotes is, if I didn't define myself, I would find myself crunched into other people's fantasies and eaten alive. So if I don't define what positive energy, positive vibes, if I don't define it, somebody else for sure is going to define it for me. And it may not work for my good. It may not work for my healing. It may not work for my mental well-being. It may not work for my physical well-being because it works for them. And they are not considering who I be and how I show up and my context and my lived experiences. So with all of that, I have to define what positive energy looks like. And the reason why it's so important to speak in affirmations and to speak with a positive vibe, because if I say what I don't want, I'm going to attract that which I don't want. Let me explain. I remember growing up, single off and on. It is what it is. And I would say, well, I don't want this. And I don't want that. I don't want this type of person. And what'll happen? That means, hey, Miss Odessa, I love you. You late, but I'm glad you're here. Yes, ma'am. I would say what I don't want, and guess what would happen? I would attract that which I don't want. Dr. Falami, you better testify and say yes, which is spiritual self. Teach us today, affirm today. So if I say something negative, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to attract that which I say I don't want. And that's why it's so important to know what I do want, what positive energy looks like, what it feels like, what it sounds like, what it tastes like. What I need to know what that is so that I can speak in the affirmative and begin to remove that toxicity out of my life and attract that positive energy that I have named, because we are powerful beings, we are spiritual beings, we are co-creators, and we manifest shit. Right? We have the power to change the atmosphere, and we do so by speaking in the affirmative. So I got to know what positive energy is before I start asking for it, before I start talking about, I don't want toxicity in my life. I need to be very specific. Very specific. Very specific. And this is why community is so important. This is why we come together and we build community. Because through our storytelling, through our shared experiences, we then learn what positive energy is. Because energy is connection. Energy is that thing that which, just like when you plug in something to get power, You got to make that connection. So it's the same with community. I got to plug into community to get that connection so that I understand what positive energy looks like and what it is not. I speak what it is, but I still got to recognize what it is not. Because again, somebody else will define it for me and crunch and eat me alive and crunch me into their own fantasies in their own context, dehumanizing women, disrespecting black women, disrespecting and degrading and demeaning black men, disrespecting, degrading and demeaning and marginalizing and oppressing black and brown people. That is what will happen when they try to define you for what you are, for who you are in this world, trying to exude and define and emulate positive energy. Because it'll work for their advantage. Not caring or considering who you be in your context. So we must come together and share these experiences so that that positive energy will then manifest, and we'll be able to identify it because we'll be able to feel it all in our bones. We'll be able to feel it in our womb and in our gut. We'll be able to feel it in our heart. We'll be able to know it in our minds. We'll know what it sounds like. We'll know what it feels like, because that positive energy is what is manifesting when we build community. We are able to talk and have the hard conversations. And I live in, well, I won't say where I live, but there's a part of where I live where crime is just ridiculous. This weekend there were like 20 something shootings, right? And one incident, 4 people were shot, 3 of those 4 people died. Right? And these are moments where we have an opportunity to have these hard conversations with our beloveds and trying to exemplify this unconditional positive regard so that they would want to change for themselves, and quite possibly not. And again, this is very systemic, right? These issues stem from systematic ills, because we wouldn't have guns if it weren't for the 1% that keeps bringing guns into this country and into our communities. We would not have these communities that are ridden with crime if we didn't have gentrification and redlining and not in my backyard. We wouldn't have these impoverished communities if it weren't for the 1% and then the 99%, and then, you know, of that 99%, many people are impoverished by design. We wouldn't have all of this if it weren't for the supremacy that is happening. The whole point and the whole concept of white supremacy is to have this supreme group that is over everybody else. That means I make more money, I get the jobs, I have more access. So all of that does not help me and my community and my beloveds. So it's up to us. One, I am because you are, therefore I am. It requires us to then manifest that positive energy so that people will know that I am somebody. I am a human being. I am loved. I am a spiritual being. I am divine. I am worthy. And I cannot allow to be crunched into other people's fantasies and eaten alive by killing my beloveds, or by conforming to this capitalistic system, or even giving anyone an opportunity to degrade me, dehumanize me, or demean me. Positive energy, positive vibes. Protect my vibe, protect my peace, protect my well-being, even in the midst of diagnosis, even in the midst of sickness, even in the midst of strife. there is something happening right in the middle of that where positive energy will then rise up and overcome all of that if we do it with a level of intention. So I want to, as we begin to close, intention is so important, because if you don't do it with a level of intention, meaning I am seeking out to do X, Y, and Z. I am seeking out to live out this positive energy. I am seeking out to love one another. I am seeking out to love myself. I am seeking to know that I am worthy. How do I do that? I then go to a community that is a part of positive energy and positive vibes, and then we begin to build together, begin to build ourselves individually, and we build ourselves collectively. So it has to be done with some level of intention, because quite honestly, it may happen haphazardly. It may happen by, accident, but the likelihood and the sustainability of it is probably short-lived, because I didn't do it with a level of intention. So having the intention of living with this positive energy and these positive vibes and positive well-being and positive mind, heart, and gut, and loving ourselves and knowing who we are and how we are divine and beautiful and amazing when we come together as community. So keep in mind, beloved, and especially, I always have the domestic violence hotline and the suicide lifeline scrolling across the ticker. Let us keep in mind that when we are building community, when we start with ourselves, we start to speak positive energy, remembering our life experiences, Sankofa, right? Going back to fetch that which we can bring into the future that is going to build us up, so that we can see ourselves in the future. We can look forward and anticipate what's to come, that is beautiful, that is great, that is divine, that is full of positive energy. And understand that not everybody is where you are. So it's so important that we meet people where they are. We deeply listen and feel the energy from someone, and then we journey with them. However, Spirit is moving us to journey with them, because not everybody is just automatically going to feel this positive energy because they're in the midst of toxicity. Not everybody is going to know how worthy they are because they're in a domestic violence situation. Not everybody is going to know how much power they have in embodying this positive energy because they have mental health challenges, and the list goes on and on and on. So without judgment, we walk alongside to make sure that these people, everybody, has access to understanding what positive vibes and positive energy is. Does that mean we go skipping through the tulips every day like nothing is going on? Absolutely not. But my positive energy and my positive vibe is going to get me through whatever challenge, whatever strife, whatever ills are going on. My positive vibe is going to give me the strength that I need, the words that I need, the countenance that I need, the presentation that I need to combat any ill that tries to come up against me. Because Mother Carolyn just posted today, there is no weapon that's formed that will prosper against me. Absolutely not, because I have too much of a vibe going on where you can't get me, you can't break me, you cannot shoot me down, you cannot kill me with your words. You can try your very best, but this positive energy is like a force field, and this force field is not only around me, but this energetic force field then connects each one of us and all of us together so that we can build community, because this is what this broadcast is all about. It's about learning how to build community, because we are so siloed, we are so separated, we are so segmented. We gotta come together and do this thing on one accord. So beloved, I offer you today a lot of positive energy, love and light, hope and peace, daring to dream and dream big, and knowing that you are worthy. You are worthy of all this positive energy. You are worthy of all these positive vibes, and carry that with you in each moment. Maybe a day is too much, so carry it moment to moment so that you might live and live more abundantly, and live so that you will not die, mind, body, or soul, at the hands of empire, systemic ills, oppression, marginalization, racism, classism, sexism. Receive it today, beloveds. I love you to the moon and beyond. Take this with you and know that you are worthy of all this positive energy, no matter what situation you might be in. There is community, there is help, there is support for you to tap in, plug into that power so that you might have the positive energy that you need to make it through. I love you. May this day be as wonderful as you are, and thank you for building community with me. I don't take it for granted, and I am so grateful, as this is our 76th episode. Last week was number 75, and I forgot to mention it. 76 since my first video when I was protesting a basketball game with kids versus law enforcement. And from that moment birthed Tuesdays with Tawana, TWT. And I am so grateful that we are still going strong and still building community, one episode at a time. This is Rev T, aka Dr. Tad, aka Tawana, building community and loving you from the moon to the moon and beyond. Much love. Have a great day.